Morning, guys. I'm back, and I wanted to bring you some information. So, here we go. Wanted to talk a little bit about the history of cannabis. A lot of people you already know, but let's get caught up. Let's start from the beginning. You know what I mean? So, anyway, cannabis is one of the world's oldest cultivated crops, first of all. It goes all the way back to the development of agriculture itself. Okay. In 1977, a scientist, Carl Sagan, suggested that cannabis may have been the first cultivated crop in the world. And we all know this to be true simply because of certain facts that have come about since this was written, which we'll talk about in another video. So we're going to talk about laws. I'm going to put up links. Boo, boo, boo. We're going to do a lot. So anyway, okay, archaeologists believe marijuana goes back to at least 12,000 years ago. Nice. Seeds dating back to 3000 BC have been found in Siberia, parts of China. We all know that they were big in China for, natural medical. Why can't I think this morning? More coffee. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, and then the oldest can't today. What is that? The oldest record of marijuana's medical use dates back to 4000 BC, when the plant was used for its anesthetic properties. He was even mentioned in an ancient sacred Hindu text. I cannot pronounce it, but it translates to Science of Charm. No, Science of Charms, where it was dubbed sacred grass. I mean, it's in the Bible, but I don't do religious on this channel. We all have our beliefs. I love my Jesus. I love my God. We'll keep that separate, although it all intertwines for me. Anyway, Roman naturalists wrote of the effects in Pliny the Elder in Natural History. That was his book. He wrote about it, and then a physician, an ancient famous Greek physician, Galen, often prescribed marijuana to his patients. Well, see, and there you have it. So we know way back when that it was all medicinal and part of, what was put here for us to use from the earth and yada, yada, yada. Good stuff. So, all right. But it's not, it's not just medicine either. So there's more than one type of cannabis plant, and the uses of the different types go far beyond medicine. We knew this. Excuse me. Cannabis sativa, L. The L in honor of botanist Carl Linnaeus. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, cannabis sativa. They do, out of that, they do cloth, oil, rope. I mean, just a plethora of things. But, of course, a lot of that is already known. So we're just going over. We're doing a brief history. So let's do it. Anyway, first plants to be spun into fiber, dating back 10,000 years in Taiwan. Hey now. Let's see, 6,000 BC, the Chinese began using hemp seed and oil for food, and then over the next 2,000 years, they started weaving it into fine textiles and fiber. So, it's just so much more than just, medicinal, or, oh, there's my eyeballs, or, using it for rope and what have you. You put it in food. A lot of people use it on salads. I mean, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Anyway, okay. So, And then hemp rope soon showed up in England and other parts of Europe because hemp cloth became popular. Spaniards introduced hemp to South America in the mid-16th century, and by the 17th century, the Puritans were cultivating the crop in New England. Hello. George Washington grew hemp and encouraged its cultivation in the new country due to its industrial purposes. Even here in the U.S., which we're going to get into too. Anyway, during World War II, it was used to make uniforms, canvas, and rope. I mean, the thing is we've been using it forever, but we'll also get into why it was. Anyway, in 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act began, restricting the growth and sale of all forms of cannabis. And in 1970, the Controlled Substance Act categorized both cannabis sativa and cannabis sativa L as Schedule I drugs, despite the fact that hemp lacks any psychoactive properties. So there's a lot of groups out there that you can get involved with to get these laws passed so that we can have use of it for small businesses and in cooking, and we can, of course, use it medicinally. We need to offset for schools or whatever, who knows, Coffee. So anyway, okay. This is something I wanted to show you. It's from this paper. You can you see the Marijuana Tax Act? I mean, come on, people. Really? So anyway, they have that, and it says the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937 placed a sales tax on all transactions of cannabis and hemp in the United States until it was replaced in 1969. This is when it got crazy. The act initially gained steam from Harry J. Anslinger of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics in 1930 because of his concern of the purported increase of people smoking the plant. Whatever, dude. Some historians have claimed that the act was passed largely to suppress the hemp industry at the behest of Andrew Mellon, Randolph Hearst, and DuPont family, whose investments in timber and nylon were threatened by the cheap alternative. So greedy. People are so greedy. And we know this. We already know this. So, let's move on. Anyway, okay, so, and then by 1931, 29 states had outlawed marijuana. Even though there was no evidence that the drug was particularly dangerous, which we all know. I don't know. It's all personal opinion in where I want to go with this, but it's not like I don't know a lot of people who got into their car and did major damage, whereas alcohol is a completely different beast. We have meth, we have all kinds of different words, Lisa. Anyway, we have all kinds of different things out there that we shouldn't have. And this is one of those things that people need, and it helps so much and so many. So anyway, now on to Reefer Madness. Let me show you this, because this was the propaganda that they used. There you go. Anyway, so let's read that. Reefer Madness is a propaganda film that follows the downfall of a group of high school students who became addicted to marijuana. Anyway, in the film, the students commit multiple crimes, including a hit and run, manslaughter, and rape. What? Alright, anyway. And also suffer from hallucinations because of their use of marijuana. Although it was originally conceived as a moral tale to inform parents of the dangers of marijuana, it was later bought by a producer Dwayne Esper to be recut as an exploitation film. Many decades later, the film was rediscovered and became a cult classic as an unintentional satire. Yeah, that sounds more like Stoners. It doesn't sound like all that other stuff, all those crimes. It definitely sounds like Stoners to create satire out of propaganda. Anyway, let's see. In the 1950s, federal laws were created that made penalties strict. First offense of possession could carry a sentence of 2 to 10 years in prison. Wait, yeah. And a $20,000 fine. Okay. Wow. That's craziness. We've come a long way, baby. Okay, so now I wanted to do a little something different. We're all caught up. The 70s created chaos for us, and now we're definitely trying to get things turned around. Of course, Colorado. We have, I think, 14 states on board besides them. So it's moving. It's moving along. We just need more attention so that people can take care of issues that they have. Anyway, so now I'm going to do a little history of marijuana regulations in the United States. Okay, so let's see what this one says. Got a little paper here. Let's see what happens. Dun, dun, dun. So the relationship with marijuana dates back to the colonial era. We talked about that. Well, briefly. We don't really talk much here because this is a lot of just go over. Other videos, I'm going to be like, talk to me, people. Tell me what you think. Send me a comment. Anyway. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. After the Mexican Revolution of 1910, Mexican immigrants flooded into the United States, bringing with them the recreational use of marijuana. I don't know. That sounds a little suspect. I don't think we're using it everywhere if it was found in Syria and China, and give me a break. So anyway, let's see. The drug became associated with the immigrants and the fear. Let's see. Oh, lordy. Anti-drug campaigners warned against the encroaching marijuana menace. Whatever. By 1931, 29 states all outlawed marijuana. 3770. However, in 76, a parents' movement against marijuana began and was instrumental in affecting public attitudes, which led to the 1980 War on Drugs. If y'all remember that. I know I do. Anyway, dating myself. Let's see. Mandatory sentences were reenacted by President Reagan. The 3 strikes you're out policy required life sentences for repeat drug offenders. The war on drugs continued under President George Bush in '89. Yet, a major shift in public perception of marijuana was underway. Okay, in 1996, California passed Proposition 215, allowing for the sale and medical use of marijuana for patients with AIDS, cancer, and other serious painful diseases. Thus, the tension between federal laws criminalizing marijuana and state laws permitting marijuana in certain circumstances began to corrode. Anyway, they began to get better. How exciting. How exciting. So that's a little history. Went through a lot of crap. I have this book I'm going to break out. One of my besties gave me. And I love this book.